Welcome to my YouTube channel, Turkish Series Stars. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and support the channel, friends. Now, let's talk about the question that rang in everyone's ears as the clock hit midnight: who was with Barış Baktas on New Year's Eve? A glittering industry bash? A romantic escape abroad? A private countdown somewhere sun-soaked and secret? None of that. The image that caught everyone off guard was simple and stark. Barış spent New Year's Eve alone in a gym, pushing through reps under fluorescent lights. No party, no champagne clinks, no affectionate silhouettes sneaking into frame. Just iron, mirrors, and silence. And that silence did not feel empty. It had meaning. It had weight. As soon as those gym clips hit the feeds, the rumor mill spun into overdrive. Because there was one name people expected to see with him and didn't: Yağmur Yüksel. The two had been paired in headlines for months, their every step scrutinized: stolen looks, coordinated event appearances, the distant promise of something more. Yet on the most performative night of the year, there was no trace of them together. No photo, no message, not even one cryptic story post to stoke the flames. Just quiet. It didn't take long for that quiet to be translated. Had the split already happened? Was this long-anticipated romance a brief chapter that closed without a curtain call? Some voices were softer, suggesting a mutual, gradual fade. Others were blunt, insisting it wasn't about love at all, that the entire connection had been a career play. The sharpest claim was the one that stuck, that Barış had been used as a stepping stone. So what's the truth? Was it a tender fling that simply ran its course? Or was it an arrangement that served a purpose and then dissolved on schedule? Why was Barış in a gym, alone, while the world toasted a new year? Why did Yağmur remain steadfastly silent? And why did social media react with such certainty, as if they'd seen the script before? Let's untangle it. New Year's Eve in show business is a stage: big dinners, twinkling lights, red carpets rolled onto yachts, curated fireworks with captions about gratitude and beginnings. Who shows up with whom, who vanishes, who dares to change the rhythm, every detail becomes evidence. Yet as 2025 dawned, one name rewrote the expected narrative: Barış Baktas. People assumed they'd get a lavish countdown and a soft focus kiss. Instead, they saw a man in a hoodie, buried in a workout when the world was making noise. No invitation, no entourage, no celebratory clip. Just a body in motion and a face set with quiet resolve. In the world of public lives, that image was a statement, not just solitude, but a declaration of it. Naturally, eyes pivoted to Yağmur Yüksel. She, who had been photographed at premieres with a steady, luminous poise, who seemed as comfortable on a set as she did on a magazine cover, didn't post as the hours ticked past. No mention of Barış. No coy caption for fans to decode. No wink toward an audience hungry for assurance. In the universe of celebrity where silence can be louder than speeches, her restraint resounded. It felt like an answer, even if it wasn't meant to be one. Behind the curtain, whispers painted a different timeline than the public believed. Sources murmured that the separation wasn't a sudden shock but a slow unwinding, a drift that began long before decorations went up. They didn't explode, they simply slipped out of each other's calendars. New Year's Eve was not the cause, only the moment the truth could no longer be tucked away. For a star as visible as Barış, showing up alone in a gym on a night built for spectacle was as clear as saying, "I'm on my own, and I'm not hiding it." Then came the backlash, swift and relentless. Threads on X, comment storms under Instagram posts, think pieces from gossip accounts. One theory gathered momentum, that the relationship had been engineered. Not necessarily fake, but guided. Calculated. According to that view, the romance had amplified Yağmur's public profile. More covers, brighter brand partnerships, calls coming from production offices that hadn't rung before. Who was talking about her like this before Barış? One comment repeated over and over, not as a question but as a verdict. Was it a leap forward in her career? or a coincidence of timing. No one denies that Yağmur's acting path didn't start yesterday. She had years of training, sets she worked on when nobody was watching, auditions that went nowhere until they did. Still, the heat after she and Barış were linked was not subtle. She became the face at fashion nights, the name in casting whispers, the person tabloids tracked leaving meetings that might become roles. Some insisted that chance had nothing to do with it, that the photograph outings weren't accidents, that the lighting, the angles, the settings were too perfect to be random, that she capitalized on visibility with precision. And what about Barış? He's always had two modes with his private life: vanish into himself, or suddenly drop a truth and walk away. This time, he chose the first. He did not write a long caption or grant a tell-all. He laced his shoes, found a quiet gym, and turned the key on the world. If you listen to the chatter from people who've worked alongside him, that's his reset button: discipline, focus, training until everything else quiets down. The line that keeps showing up in those circles is simple and unsentimental: when he senses he's being leveraged, he builds walls. So why did the stepping stone narrative take hold like wildfire? It's not the first time the public has clung to that storyline, the idea that a man with international reach becomes the ladder someone else climbs. But here, particular elements made the story stick. His expanding recognition beyond borders, her acceleration into the spotlight, the graceful but unmistakable distance between them, and that stark image of him alone on a night designed for togetherness. When all those threads intertwined, the collective judgment on social media leaned in one direction, and it leaned hard. Yet the target of criticism became, overwhelmingly, Yağmur. The absence of a clear statement from her side only intensified the fire. A familiar debate reignited. Is ambition being punished? Is a woman's progress always assumed to be borrowed? Plenty pushed back against the pylon, pointing out the unfairness of reducing her work to proximity. But the counterpoint arrived just as quickly: there's ambition, and then there's using the glare of someone else's spotlight. That split in perspective, between empowerment and opportunism, explains the ferocity of the discourse. And still, the question of choice hovers over the image of Barış in that gym. If you look back at his history after breakups, there's a pattern: he retreats. He works. He trains. He travels. He becomes careful with what he shares. So to some who know the rhythm, a solitary New Year's doesn't come as a shock at all. What made it land differently this time was timing. On a night when loneliness is most obvious, he did not soften or mask it. He stood inside it. Some watchers read that as a message to everyone who made their minds up for him: enough of being misread. What remains is the central question that the industry loves more than any other: was it love, or was it publicity? The story of Barış and Yağmur may live on as a riddle, the kind people reference whenever another luminous pairing appears out of nowhere. What's undeniable is that it ended with gaps that gossip fills too eagerly. His austerity, her hush, and the ruthless rush to judge created a landscape where truth is blurred by narrative. Perhaps the answers won't come. Perhaps they never do. Here's what is clear: some endings don't announce themselves, but their echoes travel far. This one will. Every new appearance from either of them will now be viewed through this filter. If she lands a role that surprises people, they'll tie it back. If he disappears into work and comes back leaner and sharper, they'll say the gym was the preface. When the public decides on a reading, it's hard to pry the pages away. But let's not forget that careers are long, and both of them are more than a moment. Yağmur built her footing before any headline linked their names. The craft did not suddenly spring into existence after a selfie and a red carpet. Cameras can't invent talent, only magnify it. By the same token, the discipline that put Barış in that gym on a holiday night is the same discipline that shaped his path in the first place. That's not a performance, it's a personality. Still, in the arena of perception, silence is powerful. Whether it's the kind that protects something fragile, or the kind that refuses to dignify a rumor, silence creates space for people to project. Barış's silence felt like a statement with edges, a boundary enforced with sweat and repetition. Yağmur's silence carried a different energy, one that people interpreted as calculation or dignity depending on what they wanted to see. And that's the catch. What we bring to the story often decides what we take from it. So we circle back to the image that started it all. A midnight that should have been loud, and a man who chose to be quiet. A woman who would not hand over an explanation. A city full of fireworks, and two lives that decided not to put the sparks online. Was it real and simply over? Was it pragmatic from the start, a tidy alignment of needs? Well-placed sources nudge us toward one conclusion, sympathetic friends hint at another. Somewhere between those versions is a truth reserved for the two who lived it. The more the comments rolled in, the more the argument hardened, he was used. She's being vilified for wanting more. It was mutual. It was staged. We've heard these refrains before, and we'll hear them again, but they never feel generic when the faces are familiar. They feel personal, because we've watched their interviews, rooted for their characters, read meaning into their glances. It turns strangers into experts overnight. What does it mean that the most talked about detail of the holiday wasn't a kiss or a dress but a barbell clanging against a rack? It means that sometimes, not playing the game is the loudest move you can make. It means that the refusal to supply an answer can become the answer itself. He looked right into the mirror of that gym and let the room do the talking. She chose not to interrupt. Maybe one day we'll get clarity. A thoughtful sit-down, a line in an interview that lands like a final period. Or maybe the story will stay as it is, a mosaic made of glimpses, each tile placed by eyes that were never in the room. For now, everything we have is a feeling, that New Year's can expose more than it celebrates, that the clock turning over has a way of showing you who you are. So, was it love? Was it strategy? A little of both? The industry has a way of blurring those borders. And sometimes the only honest sentence is the one no one says, I am single, and I'm not dressing it up. That's what Barış communicated without a caption. And by staying quiet, that's what Yağmur refused to confirm or deny. Tell us what you think. Do you believe this was a real romance that ended quietly, or a careful alignment that did what it needed to do? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to Turkish series stars, and ring the bell so you don't miss what comes next. In this world, what's unsaid today becomes tomorrow's headline. See you in the next one, and Happy New Year.